Hi, I'm Jennell Evans, and I want to share my insights with you about habits that I know successful people have that is really helping them thrive during this challenging time that we're experiencing all over the world. It's August 19th, 2020, and we are still managing a global pandemic that many of us thought would be long gone by now, but it's not. And so I wanted to share some things with you about habits that successful people have that I've observed and I know are helping them thrive during this unprecedented time. You know, on the other side of it, I've been talking to a lot of people lately who are really struggling with what we call pandemic fatigue. They're feeling hopeless, they're feeling much less optimistic, and for the reason I believe the misalignment of expectations that we thought we would be further along in being able to have some sense of normalcy in our life again. I was just talking to a client yesterday and she said, I feel like my life is just one, let's say, the crazy ball of chaos that just keeps rolling and rolling and rolling, and I can never get ahead of it. And primarily because the pandemic, it just continues to go on. Again, we thought we'd be on the other side of this by now. And people have shared with me, as this woman did, not sleeping well, really not being productive because feeling like, working more hours, but just not able to focus and get things done. And that has created this hum in the background that never seems to go away. And it's people are feeling lower energy and a little more sad. However, I'm also interacting with people who seem to be thriving during this time. So I've got both ends of the spectrum in this experience. And it got me thinking about why is it that some people seem to do very well in times like this and other people are really, really struggling. And I know there are probably all kinds of reasons for it, everything from birth order to personality. But I started focusing on this, and over my 25 plus years of working with corporate leaders, some of the most successful people, you've read about them in publications, I've had the privilege of working with them, that they did certain things on a consistent basis that really up-level their life. And so when things happen, 9/11, the 2009 financial crisis, this global pandemic, they're able to kind of sail through things or make lemonade out of lemons, however you want to say it, better than most people. And so over the years, I've actually taken notes about this because when I work with my clients, we spend a lot of time together, sometimes for years, sometimes 20 years. So we share, what are the things that you do to reduce stress or have fun or whatever. And so I was able to really crystallize this earlier this week about what were those things, those core consistent things that the people who are soaring now are doing. And I'm going to share those with you right now. These are things that are non-negotiables for very successful people who are able to weather times like this. And these people are not they're smart, but they're not super geniuses. They are not financially advantaged at birth or anything like that. They're just regular people who have figured out some things that if they do are going to help them have the resiliency, the confidence, the ability to adapt more than people who don't have these habits in their life. And so what I'm going to do is share with you the habit, and then I'm going to give a little more detail about what I know these successful leaders that I had the privilege of working with actually did to support that habit. So the first habit is this: intentionally eliminate stress every day. Now, I don't know if you know this or not, but stress does not just disappear. When we have a very stressful day and we don't do anything to get rid of stress, we start our next day on top of that layer of stress. I'm actually a certified meditation teacher. I teach people how to meditate, and that's a very powerful way to get rid of stress every single day. So we have to be intentional about getting rid of it. And what my clients shared with me is that many of them did a lot of mindfulness practices before this became such a trend, such as meditation or yoga or whatever helped them feel present in their lives, they took time to carve that space out every day. Other things that they did is make sure that they got 7 to 8 hours of sleep every day to rest their mind and their body. Disconnecting from technology hours before going to sleep helps induce a great night's sleep. And also gives one a break from potential triggers, because a lot of these people that I work with, they have employees all over the world. So they had to really commit to this and say after certain hours they weren't available, right? So they wouldn't be tethered to their phone or to their iPad. By eliminating stress every day, these folks didn't have that, they had a reservoir of calmness that is really helping them, particularly right now with such a level of uncertainty. They are able to just tap into that reservoir of calmness that they create through their meditation practice, through releasing stress, through physical exercise, and making self-care a huge priority in their life. These folks do not view self-care as a luxury, and nor should anyone, because it's not a luxury. It is a critical element of self-care, and it helps you optimize everything else in your life. So the second habit is to keep your emotions in check. Keep your emotions in check. You know, the quality of our relationships is directly related to the quality of our communication. And particularly during times like this, I know communication with couples, with family members, coworkers can get tense. People are on edge. There are articles in the New York Times and Washington Post about the tension that people are feeling just going about their day. So being able to have emotional self-control is really important to be able to thrive during challenging times, to thrive anytime, but particularly when there's more just tension in the air. So the way to do that, successful people know this, and they learn by working with a coach or mentor or taking classes in emotional intelligence. And the foundation of emotional intelligence is being able to have emotional self-control. That's where it starts, right? That awareness, that ability to be aware of your emotions and then to control them. So without having that stress buildup, by doing the first habit, they're able to be more calm. And they also know that they can choose how they want to respond to any situation. None of us have to be on autopilot to have an automatic response to something somebody says or something somebody does. We can be mindful of what a person is saying and then pause and choose how we want to respond. That's emotional intelligence in action. And these successful people that I observe doing this in meetings, in their interactions with their employees, they know that this is really critical. They may feel emotional about something, but they're going to keep that in check and decide how they want to respond. And they may respond when they feel less emotionally charged about something. So that's a really good habit. The third habit, focus on what you can control and not what you can't. And I think this has been a time where so many people have felt out of control, right? What is this virus? What is this thing going on? Successful people understand that, and they don't focus on those things. They're focusing on what they can control by taking time for themselves to keep their emotions in check, right? Successful people realize too that they don't control any person that works with them or is in their life, and they let go of that. These are the same people who never get caught up in office politics or drama. They welcome diverse perspectives. They welcome different ideas. They're not threatened by that. They know that they have a strong sense of self and they're very confident about it. They just let go of the things they don't control, right? And they discern when they need to take action about something and when they don't. So they let go of the external stressors. They don't control them. They're not going to waste any energy on them. They're going to focus on what they can control. The fourth habit is that you can proactively address conflicts with others. Proactively address conflicts with others. Now, successful people really take time to develop this skill, and nobody likes to have conflict, I think, with anyone. But these rock stars really understood that the sooner they dealt with a conflict that was brewing or they picked up on, the better, right? And most of us don't want to go towards the conflict. That's much more of a normal response, and this will just go away, but it doesn't, and it just festers. As somebody said, what we resist persists. And I don't know who said that, but it's very, very true. But this is such a good habit to have in your life, to really get ahead of things and to nip them in the bud, as people say, before things get to a place where it's damaging your relationship with family, coworkers, clients, whoever. But it takes some skills building, right? So this is something that successful people have sought to learn and to have in their toolkit, their communication toolkit. They don't want that inner stress of conflict more than anybody else, but they've committed to learning how to do this, how to have a difficult conversation, how to give somebody feedback, constructive feedback that they need to get. And the beauty of having this skill is this. I know myself in observing clients doing this, that when you work through conflicts, it can actually improve your relationship tremendously and make you feel even closer to people than you did before. But generally, we do tend to have a fear about having these conversations. But not these rock stars. They got the training so they could do it, and it really paid off for them. So the fifth and final habit I want to share is this. Be a lifelong learner to keep your own saw sharp. And I first heard about this concept when I was in graduate school. One of my professors said, always be sharpening your saw. I didn't really know what that meant at first. But the people that I've observed who do this well are always learning. They're always referring to a couple of books that they're reading. They're always taking courses. They're always working with, a mentor or a coach, or always trying to improve intellectually, so that they're in the know with what's going on. They're informed. They're educated. They believe it doesn't stop when you get out of high school, college, or graduate school. The world is always changing, and boy, we've gotten that memo this summer. And they believe they also need to be growing and changing too. And that's just a real core value, to be a lifelong learner and to keep your saw sharp. Now, I want to say that the successful people that I've referenced and given you examples of what they did and how these themes, these 5 habits, came to my attention as I started thinking about the people I knew, they didn't come, as I said earlier, from super wealthy families. As a matter of fact, most of them, or they weren't even encouraged. I've heard so many stories where they weren't even encouraged to be successful. They just decided they were going to be successful. They were going to be the people who were thriving in life versus reacting to things in life. And I just think that's so powerful. Many of them came from poor to modest backgrounds, but they made that decision to believe in themselves, that they chose to create the best life possible. And these habits came into their life as a result of that. Now, they don't possess any superpowers more than you or I do, but the consistency of keeping habits like I've shared with you has paid off. And when we have that kind of experience, then we are encouraged to keep these habits in our life. We see and feel the benefits. And I know many of the people that I've worked with and are working with now, who I would consider to be some of the most successful leaders in the world, do these things. And it has helped them tremendously during this challenging time. So, anybody can decide to integrate these habits and more into their life. And yes, some do require investing and learning new skills, or working with a coach or mentor, like someone like myself, but that's what it takes to expand your knowledge, to develop new skills on a continuous basis, right? And that gives you the confidence to excel in life. So if you're listening to this, and if you're struggling, I want to encourage you. Let's say you're not sleeping, you're not able to focus. I really want to encourage you to get help. Don't have any shameful feelings about it. Get the help, the support that you need right now. It could be a physician, it could be a counselor, it could be a coach or a mentor. But to definitely get the help, because here's the thing. No one is born knowing how to thrive and to be successful. No one. Some of us just figure it out sooner than later. And that's what I wanted to share with you tonight. I'm going to wrap up with a quote from Tony Robbins, because I think this quote really captures the content of what I've just shared. In essence, if we want to direct our lives, we must take control of our consistent actions. It's not what we do once in a while that shapes our lives, but what we do consistently. So there you have it, from one of the most successful coaches on the planet Earth. And that just came to me, and I thought it was a perfect way to end this share with you. Thank you.